If you thought Fatalis was a formidable challenge, then get ready to hold on to your ancient potions because Alatreon, the blazing black dragon, is coming to Monster Hunter World Iceborne. My third favorite monster in the series after Bloodbath, Diablos, and Gogmazios, Alatreon is quite literally the complete package. It possesses control over dragon, ice, thunder, and fire, and despite being a black dragon and large in size, this monster is nimble and will have you on your feet every step of the hunt. In this video, I'm going to go over the history and design of the monster, heavily leveraging information shared by its designer, Tokuda-san and Fujioka-san, in this book, which was released in Japan on the 15th anniversary of the series. You can also check out my video on the Forbidden Monster class of bosses in the description down below. Capcom had begun work on Monster Hunter Tri and knew that they wanted an endgame boss with the same caliber as the infamous Fatalis. While the Black Dragon Fatalis was powerful, all three iterations of that monster had similar gameplay, in some ways unavoidable given the size and length of the beast. So from the output they decided to make Alatreon smaller and more demanding from an action gameplay standpoint. They started with the skeleton of Kushala Daora since they had gotten really used to it during the development of Monster Hunter DOS. They increased the bone size and made Alatreon larger, but significant changes would be done with how the monster moved and held itself. Its body has two defining features, its scales and its horns. In the Japanese version of Monster Hunter, the rare material that you carve from wyverns like Rathalos is called a reverse scale, where in the English version it's simply called a plate. The idea goes back to mythology, which states that a dragon has a single scale on its body which grows in backwards, and if touched will send it into a fury. The entire body of Alatreon is covered in these special scales, which needless to say surprised most hunters when they carved it for the first time and were like, oh my gosh, I got a rare material. Then again on the second, and then again on the third. The second feature are its horns, which are large and stand tall in the sky. While Kushala often has its head downwards, they purposely designed Alatreon to hold its head up higher, and to only lower it during certain phases and moves, making it quite the trophy to break off. Most of its coveted weapons require the material and incorporate it in their design, making the Sky Piercer one of the most coveted rare materials you can get in the game. Gameplay-wise, Monster Hunter Tri had elemental blights, so they knew that they wanted to incorporate them into this fight. Get Dragon Blight and your weapon will lose any type of elemental power it has unless you take a Nullberry to get rid of it. Get Fire Blight and you'll have to put up with constant damage until you roll and get rid of it. Get Ice Blight and you're going to have a really hard time evading because your stamina recovery is going to go way down. I'm not showing here because I died, but Thunder Blight will increase the amount of stun damage you take. This meant that the weaknesses of the monster also changed, so they were hoping that online players would start to strategize and team balance to make sure that they had weapons and strategies for each different situation Alatreon can be in. Capcom recalls that they were worried about how it would drop ice crystals because on paper it sounded too much like a fantasy game. But the designers on the team were able to pull it off in a semi-believable way, and that even led to how crystals would be used eventually by Velkhana in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. As far as lore is concerned, the Black Dragons, quote-unquote, of Monster Hunter specifically ignore ecology and logic, and the design philosophy is to simply make something cool, so there really aren't any explanations on how Alatreon is unstable and can move between the different elements. Here's what its armor traditionally looks like. It has a shiny black material with purple energy radiating out of it. Its theme song literally means the roar of the blazing bell, taken from its nickname, the Blazing Black Dragon. Quick translation note, the blazing here in Japanese literally means gleaming, which is a little bit different than what you might think when you hear blazing. I think both work very well though. In 2019, they played it for the first time in the orchestra tour, and Fujioka-san recalled in the official pamphlet that when they wrote the song they had a hard time figuring out how to come up with something that sounded both divine but violent as well. This is why you hear the church bell and pipe organs, but then that electric guitar and chorus kicks in, and the changes in tempo are meant to illustrate the elemental shifts of the monster. Alatreon is one of those monsters that you just have to fight. It was insanely powerful in 3rd generation, and I personally feel that it was a little bit easier to deal with in Generations due to the additional mobility that was granted to the hunters. but the preview video for how it'll be done in Iceborne looks like a return to form and I cannot wait to hunt it. There's a reason why Alatreon was a popular monster to speedrun in the past for seasoned veterans, and that's because it demands so much on-the-fly movement and action, it really tests your ability as a hunter. Let me know down in comments below what you think about Alatreon. Have you faced it before? And if you haven't, what are you looking forward to? Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, happy hunting.